The following is a fan-based discussion. All properties discussed are property of Toei Inc., Bandai, Hasbro, and Subaru Productions.
Episode 99. God, we had to figure out what we're going to do next.
I just had like a mini existential crisis just now.
Because you realized 100 was so close?
Oh my goodness. It's been a while, hasn't it?
Yeah. I don't know. We'll figure out something. Maybe I'll have something by the end of this.
Okay.
But yeah, episode 99, Garo the Crimson Moon. Don't really have a lot to say about this. I'm not gonna lie. I have like no strong feelings about this. It's one of those shows where you're just like, alright, I watched it. That's it.
It just passes away like sand in the desert.
It does, because it didn't leave any real impression on me, except for me disliking most of it.
There are two words I would use to describe this show.
Boring.
Sexless and underdesigned.
I do want to talk about one thing, like specifically first.
Okay.
The opening. Why is it Spanish guitar? When this is set in
the
Heian era.
The Heian era. I was wondering, I was like, this is feudal Japan, but which era of Japan? I wasn't sure.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Wikipedia.
I'm just sitting here like, I'm confused immediately.
You know how in the last Garo anime we watched,
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember the exact subtitle for it, but I remember one of the things that I loved is how it used a lot of familiar tropes.
The Car Seal of Flames was the first one.
Thank you. How it used so many familiar tropes and familiar ideas that we'd seen so many times before. But it was able to present them in such an interesting way. Mm-hmm. It was able to execute them so well.
Yeah.
I had my problems with that show for sure, but it was a really solid show.
Mm-hmm. It's fun to watch.
It was fun to watch. It had a unique enough art style.
Memorable enough characters. And the
action. Really good characters, and the action is good. And
the plot itself.
The plot itself, really strong story.
Yeah.
The way we had the way the story plays with the two leads, the prince that was promised and, the young, I guess you could say like the other...
Our actual main character, Leon.
The actual the Silver Knight's ward, if you will.
Yeah.
And the Silver Knight himself and... the
Herman was great.
Yes, and Herman, thank you. The political intrigue and, like the religious oppression. Mm-hmm. It was the Dark Ages, but it was the perfect setting for this.
Yeah.
And in this one, it's Garo in feudal Japan. Okay.
That could be very interesting.
This could have been very interesting, because one of the main things that this focuses on is onmyo.
Yeah.
Which I'm not super familiar with, but I know was definitely a thing back then. Mm-hmm. And
do you want to explain what onmyo is?
Well, it is a form of mysticism.
Yeah,
I believe. And like as I said, I'm not super familiar with it. I apologize, but I do know in passing what it is.
Yeah,
I think this could have been a great opportunity to explore
that side of Japanese mythology.
Like that side of Japanese, not only that side of Japanese mythology, but you could have done more with maybe, like, because you have the, like the minister of the left and you have all the other politicians that are involved. Mm-hmm. You could have done, you could have had more political intrigue, like how they're oppressing peasants and how they're, putting their blind faith in onmyo and really they're powerless, or maybe they're actually powerful, but maybe there's, they're the ones who are causing all the horrors to come forth. Mm-hmm. And they don't do any of that. Instead, we focus on Raiko, who might be the blandest character ever.
You notice this season 2 is like a really watered down version of season 3 of the live action. Because it follows a lot of the same story beats.
You think so?
But yeah, because it's just like, oh, he can't really control the armor, or Raiko's not Raiko's.
Raiko.
No, the live action.
Oh.
Season 3 one.
Yeah.
But he couldn't really control his armor either. It was black. It wasn't correct and stuff like that. And then Raiko couldn't do it either at the beginning. And you're sitting there like, I've seen this.
Ryuga.
Now, there are a lot of R's.
There are. goodness.
But yeah, it's just like with Raiko, it felt like a lot of the same story beats were happening. But it wasn't, as much as I harp on season 3, because let's face it, it really wasn't that good.
No, it wasn't.
It still had some interesting things which made Goldstorm's show that much more interesting.
Goldstorm's show fixed all of the mistakes that season 3 had.
Yeah.
Because Goldstorm's show is one of my favorite seasons of Toku.
It's a great
I
show.
love that season.
It's a really good season.
Great characters, great villain, great everything.
Oh, Jinga. But
Jinga when he's at his most fun.
he was having fun.
Jinga in his own show was no fun.
Well, that's because he really wasn't supposed to be fun.
Until
the end where he became complete bastard man again.
I know, but I like Jinga when he's complete bastard man. I don't like him when he's boring normal hero man.
That is him at his most hilarious. I love Jinga. He's just such a bad. He's a villain that you hate.
When it's Decade at his most Nicolas Cage.
It really is. He's just such a bastard, and I love it.
Yes.
But yeah, when you end up having something like Raiko, I'm sitting here like, I don't have any emotion from you, and the attendant being trapped on like a kid's body didn't really do anything for me. I mean, it shouldn't, but it's just like it did,
from a story perspective.
Yeah, from a story perspective, I'm just like, why? Why'd I make him older?
Or why? I mean, I don't have a problem with you making him a kid, but maybe give him a character.
Yeah, he doesn't really have much.
80% of this show's dialogue is people saying other people's names.
It is.
It is. Like, every word out of that kid's mouth is Raiko-sama! Raiko-sama! Sama-san! Daigo! Kujaku! Chosen one!
Chosen! I'm coming! I didn't like it. I didn't like the villain either. Seimei, let's talk about her. And how much I don't care.
Yeah. The choice to... That is a choice. Making her character really... Her and Raiko's relationship really bugged me. Because it was so antagonistic. Just, they're always sniping at each other.
Yeah.
They're always arguing. They never seem to get along. The only time they ever say anything positive about each other is when the other one isn't there. And... I think about, you mentioned Goldstorm's show again, how Rien and Ryuga were such a good team.
Yeah.
And how well, like, I loved action scenes in that show, not just because they were well shot. I wanted to see how these two were going to work together this time.
Yeah.
Where she's like, let me fire this magic bullet, and you're going to skid it off your sword and cut it in two and kill these two guys. And
I remember that scene. That was a great scene.
There's some great action in that. In this one, almost every action scene in this show is he becomes Garo. Is like they like in his human form. Like before episode, I think it's 14 or 13 when he finally gets control of it for himself.
Yeah,
I'm gonna the horror. I'm just gonna slash at it a couple of times. I get Seimei lifts the seal. I put the armor on. I do one slash, monster is dead.
Yeah.
That's every action scene for the first half of the show.
Yeah, it does change in episode 14. Also,
but it doesn't change enough because it's still just like there aren't any interesting camera angles. Mm-hmm. The animation in this show is not good.
No, it's such a step down.
It is a huge step down because the animation in the first season wasn't the greatest. But the character designs and the art were stylized enough that it made up for it.
I remember fights from season 1. Like, when he did, like, the Gatling punch against that one horror, I will remember that forever, because that was cool.
I will remember forever... One thing I will remember forever is one of the monsters that was, like, a giant tower.
Yeah.
The giant tower horror with the two statues, the two Grim Reaper statues. That was such a cool design.
Yeah.
This show has none of that.
There's nothing... It's weird, because... This is
if I can say one positive thing design wise, it's the second I want to call him the secondary writer, but that's not what he is.
The secondary knight.
Zanga.
Yeah.
Yasuke. His suit, the white with the blue and red accents, looks really nice.
Yeah.
He should have been the main character.
He should have.
He should have been the main character, and this show should have been half as long.
Yeah, this is like such a weird one.
This show is so padded. There are filler episodes.
There are actual filler
that
episodes.
episode dedicated to the politician who's like cheating on his wife, and then he becomes a horror because I want to cheat on my wife. What was that?
Trash.
Yeah.
This second
why
season,
are we following this nothing character who has no bearing on the plot?
This second season is legitimately the bottom of the V and the 2. Because the first season and Vanishing Line are so good. I can't wait to review Vanishing Line. But this one is just like, it's such a weird place in the middle where it doesn't fit anywhere and it's also not good.
I mean, if we can look at this promotional art. Look at how stylish this looks. How the colors are not all quite there. How it's kind of got this faded, ancient, like manga-esque, very stylized look to it. The show would have been more interesting if it looked like this. As it stands, like the backgrounds in this show, there's nothing going on.
They're really bland.
They're so bland. Sometimes there's just nothing there.
Yeah.
It's like the same street, the same building, the same forest, the same everything. None of the monsters, even like a giant snake horror, doesn't stand out. The only one that really stands out to me is the final boss.
Yeah.
Where it's like that large woman, but she's like kind of like half spider, and she has a bunch of arms.
Oh, that is a Japanese mythology thing.
Oh, Jirugomu?
Yeah.
Jirugomu?
We tried.
It's one of them.
Sorry.
Hey.
Jirugomu, I think. I don't know. But yeah, it's just like... Yep, Jirugomu.
Okay. But yeah, that final design, the final design of the final boss, that was cool.
Mm-hmm.
Everything else, and the villain looks like something that was plucked off of JoJo's table scraps. He does. I mean, you look at him in this art.
The chin especially.
The pose, the scars on his face, the skin color, the hair color. All he needs is the little menacing kanji floating behind him.
Oh, you're approaching me?
That's all he needs. But then you get into the show,
and he doesn't.
There is in one of the first episodes where you really like see him do anything.
Yeah.
And
I get it. He was Seime's teacher, but
and then it's like someone has cursed the minister of the left. Oh no, whatever shall we do? And he has all these like curse statues.
Yeah.
And he's like, I'm going to take these and create a monster. And they just kind of watch him do it. Raiko is standing right there, and he's like, I shall curse the minister of the left, and I shall do a bad thing. Woo-ha-ha.
I think the thing that sort of makes this worse...
Stab him! What are you
because
doing?
of the fact that this show is very aimless, which is how we got a lot of filler episodes.
Yeah.
When we watched the first season, they had a goal. Stop Mendoza.
Yeah.
That's the goal. And we have a lot of things that we got to do. He chases out of the city.
Yep.
End up killing a whole bunch of people. It's like, we have a goal. We have set steps that we got to do to get to where we need to be. And this one is just like, I guess we'll just putz around for a good while and have comedic moments with music that shows that this is... Let's talk about that for a quick second. The comedy in this show is not good because of the fact that it feels so weirdly out of place. Every single time they do it, it's just like, we have to showcase this... Especially the music, because the music is being the thing that really drives that. It's like, we had to show this, cloppy horse moving music to show that we're being funny right now. Coming off of season 1, where it's just like, it's like in season 2 they tried to do what Goandra did, where they just tried to just be funny instead of not actually doing things that were humorous. Like in season 1, you had Herman be a bastard man.
Yeah.
That was like his whole thing.
It's funny because this situation is funny. His reaction, his son's reaction.
Yeah.
Like his son like walking in on him with a prostitute and just kind of like kicking the door and like, yo, old man, we gotta go. But, like the way it's all shot, the way it's scripted, and the way the performances work, it's all those things together.
Yeah. And this
saying quippy things does not make you funny.
Yeah.
And it also doesn't give you a personality.
No. That's the thing. It's like they tried to interject a personality in some places. Like, these people are quirky. Oh, God. No. And it makes it worse when we end up watching season 3 of this and we see just how Sword and Luke are, especially Sword, because Sword is the definition of bastard man. And I love him for it. It's why my profile picture on Discord is a bastard man. It's Noel, Lupin X. But it's just like, seeing this, I don't know. It might just be like it might not fit my particular style of comedy.
Also true.
But watching this, it's like they were trying too hard. And they were trying so hard.
I don't think it's that they were trying too hard. It's that they weren't trying hard enough.
It's sort of like they were somewhere, like they tried to do both and yet not make it. I don't like this show.
I think that much is obvious.
It's just like, I was watching it and I was just like, I don't want to.
Getting back to Japanese mythology and how this show tends to work it in, there is an episode with Princess Kaguya.
Yeah.
And I actually got pretty interested in what they could have done with that. And
it's called Watch Avatar. Sokka did that.
I was going to say watch The Tale of Princess Kaguya.
Also that.
The Ghibli movie. Or play Okami. Because she's in that too for a hot second. And that was better than this. You think about how, she sent these suitors on impossible tasks, and how at the end of
3 of them tried forgeries, 1 of them gave up, and 1 died.
Yep. You think about how at the end of the story, the celestial envoy comes down.
She forgets,
she forgets everything. Celestial envoy comes down, spirits her away to the moon, where she can reign as a princess, and I was excited. I was like, okay, what is this going to do with that myth? They do nothing.
I was watching something.
Her parents are horrors. I was like, okay, that could be an interesting twist. It isn't. They don't do anything with it. And when she gets spirited away to the moon today, she just kind of floats.
Yeah. I was watching Overly Sarcastic Productions. I just started binging all of their stuff.
I've told you about them before. I love their stuff.
They did a video on it. Yeah. And I watched it yesterday, and I'm sitting here like, oh yeah, I feel like I've seen this before, but less interesting than the actual story.
They did one on Jaragumo too.
Yeah.
It's a great channel.
It's boring. The show is boring.
Yeah.
The show is bland and boring. There's no drive to do anything. I know they said, don't tell us what to watch or whatever. It's like, no, I'm just going to say, I should have don't recommend this. I would say watch season 1, watch season 3.
I would absolutely recommend season 1.
And then don't watch
If you've been listening to me, you know how I feel about this season. But if I could touch on one more thing.
Yeah.
Yasuke. Zanga.
Yeah.
The story he has with it was a woman who was a thief. He fell in love with her, but he is of noble status. And, it couldn't work out. She got possessed by a horror. He had to kill her. Like, that episode should have been your opening episode.
Yeah, it should have.
That should have been your opening episode, and he should have been the main character. It could have just been about him taking on the role of a prince of thieves, leaving his noble birth behind, and fighting to never, make sure that never happened to anyone else again.
Yeah,
and that could have been so interesting.
Yasuke is just so much better to watch. Like we said at the beginning, Raiko is bland. He is a blank slate and doesn't have anything.
He's white bread that is expired.
He really is. He just isn't fun to watch because he doesn't do anything enough to really warrant watching him.
No.
Oh God, Seimei just. Oh God, everybody in this show. Oh God. No.
Yeah, I think that about sums it up.
Yeah. It's sad that we're doing this right before we even get an episode 100.
Yeah. What's 100 but another number?
It's true. Which is why I think I know what we should do for the next one.
What is that?
Something you'll enjoy.
What's that?
We're going to do the original Godzilla.
Oh, goodness, yes.
I was thinking of just like, I know people want us to do like the original writer or Go Ranger, but
which we will most likely do at some point.
we'll get to them. It's going to take like 3 weeks to watch those because they're just long and they are plotless.
And time is
of the
not
essence.
something we have a lot of.
Speaking of that, before we end this, Ruth Bader Ginsburg died yesterday.
She did.
I am not going to tell people how to vote, but I will implore you for our U.S. watching people, please register if you are of age. I know some people were very apathetic last time. It's like, I don't think we have the privilege to do that this time around.
Nope.
I'm going to put things in the comments below, or rather, right under this video, just be like, for where you can go register to vote, come November. It's just like a lot of places don't let you do same day voting, or rather same day registration and voting. I would much rather everybody just go out there, get your voice heard. I know some people would be like, I don't really care about politics. At the same time, you got to remember it's not really about you. At the same time, the way I view it in some cases, I love being petty. And for the people
that I know
I don't like, which is quite honestly a lot of the things going on in our government, I'm going to try to beat them out of pure pettiness. Be petty if you got it. Just please go out there and get your voice heard.
Yes.
That is the most important thing that we have to do this year. Not going to tell you how to vote, not going to tell you who to vote for. But if you want your voice to be heard, this is a great way to do it, because more than likely a lot of people are going to be paying attention to what we do this year. I want us to look good as a country. I want us to be good just as people. And that's my whole goal for the end of this incredibly shitty year. Please go out and vote. That is so important. I implore you. I'm not going to beg because I don't do that. Well. Please just go out and vote. Please get yourself registered. Just make your voice heard. That is what we can do as people in the U.S. in 2020. I know a lot of places around the world are also having elections this year that are obviously going to be very important to you.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just going to implore everybody. If you are of age, please go get your voice heard. Be petty if you gotta, but make sure that somebody can hear you being petty.
I agree with you 100%.
So yeah, don't forget to join us on all the things next time for episode 100. We'll be going back to the first Toku and doing the original Godzilla.
Oh, I can't wait. I can't wait.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.